And I am going to start recording this from now. Oh, it's already recorded. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am Club President Nick Lakhani. This meeting of online presenters has now begun. Guests, please note that in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 speeches from either the traditional or Pathways programs. Or you must have substantive relevant presentation experience that you demonstrate in a 3 to 5 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to board approval. If you want to talk about memberships, please message Lewis Brown. He is in the room today. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and your role if you have one. Right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording the meeting. Your video and audio contribution will be used or may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, please mute your microphone when you are not speaking. Today, we are going to have a video speech contest, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Toastmaster of the day. Please give it up for Donna Knight.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters, all good evening. It is our pleasure here at Online Presenters to share with you our contest. You could have been anywhere this evening, but we're very glad you clicked on Online Presenters, where you have come to support and cheer on and strengthen online presenters as we are showcasing our video speech contest. Just to let you know, the video recording of the speech of today's winner will be submitted as an entry in the video speech contest, which is Toastmasters International Contest for undistricted clubs and provisional districts that follow the International Speech Contest rules. And we're excited to see what these contestants will showcase today. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you one of the first persons working with our contest chair. With our contestants is our contest chair, our Vice President Education, Toastmaster Christian. Let's welcome him. Contest Chair Christian, the evening is yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. What a night, what a day, what an afternoon, wherever you are in the world, because yes, we are now a global club at Online Presenters. This is contest night where 4 of our members sorted out on the virtual stage. This video speech contest will consist of a series of timed speeches of 5 to 7 minutes, which will be judged by a panel of judges. For this contest, the green signal will be displayed at 5 minutes and remain displayed for 1 minute. The yellow signal will be displayed at 6 minutes and remain displayed for 1 minute. The red signal will be displayed at 7 minutes and will remain on until the conclusion of a contestant speech. A contestant is disqualified if the speech is less than 4 minutes 30 seconds or more than 7 minutes 30 seconds. Of the 4 contestants, 1 contestant will be having the support of a timing signal. The contestants and judges have certified their eligibility, which have been confirmed by both myself, the contest chair, and our chief judge, respectively. Our chief judge for this event is Toastmaster Marianne Grady. Thank you for being there, madam. Now, these proceedings are designed to ensure that we run a fair contest and that each contestant is given a level playing field on which to compete. The following announcements are made in the interest of having a distraction-free environment for our contestants, except for the contestant and the timer. All role players and audience members are invited to stop sharing your video feeds, and you will be muted by the Zoom master. And during the running of the contest, the Zoom chat and screen sharing features will be disabled. Once contest has begun, members of the audience are invited to refrain from leaving or re-entering the main room, this room. If audience members do happen to leave, The Zoom master will not allow anyone to enter the room during the running of a contestant's speech. All contestants have been briefed. I would like to confirm with the Zoom master if all our contestants are present and we are ready to proceed with the contest.
All 4 contestants are in the room.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to confirm with our Madam Chief Judge if all contest officials have been briefed and we are ready to proceed with the contest.
Yes, Contest Chair, all contest officials have been briefed and we are ready to proceed with the contest.
Thank you. Now, in order to allow the judges time to mark their judging forms, we will have 1 minute of silence after each contestant speech. And after the last contestant speech, we will observe 1 minute of silence, during which time contest officials will be moved into their respective breakout rooms. I will also invite our timer to please signal by showing a green light, a green background, when that 1 minute has elapsed between contest speeches. Now, thank you, Madam Timer. I'm going to now share our speaking order for our contestants. And here it is. Contestant number 1, Andrei Smolenko. Contestant number 2, Jeanette Francois. Contestant number 3, Jim Barber. And contestant number 4, Mike Woodall. This is the speaking order of our contestants. All contestants will remain in the room during this contest. The international speech contest will now begin. Mr. Zoom Master, can we make sure that everyone's video is turned off at this time, except for me, the timer, and contestant number 1?
Okay, I can see you, the timer, and now contestant number 1. You're good to go.
All right. Contestant number 1, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can.
Andrei Smolenko, bending the rules. Bending the rules. Andrei Smolenko.
Last week, when I took my 9-year-old son to a playground after school, the day was beautiful and the playground was packed with running about children and even their parents, chatting to each other. However, they hold a respectable social distance, staying away from each other. Then, suddenly, a little girl, about 6 years old, just tripped over and fell on the ground. And I bent over and I picked her cuddly toy up. And then I joined the choir with all the parents around the playground, chanting, "Someone's baby is crying! Someone's baby is crying!" Mr. Contest Chair, ladies and gentlemen, we got to know where we can break the rules a little. At that situation, I could have bent over and picked the girl up instead of her cuddly toy. I didn't do it. I didn't want to break the rules. Well, at that time, breaking the rules was something that I didn't think about because of social distancing. What would other parents think of me breaking the rules? But what I know for sure, my parents thought of me 35 years ago when Chernobyl nuclear disaster shook the world. In April 1986, Chernobyl nuclear plant exploded in the Ukraine. That was a horrible, horrible disaster that forced millions of parents evacuate their children away from the main capital of the Ukraine. They left their loved homes. They had to leave their loved ones. I was 7 at that time, and I lived in the capital of Ukraine with my mom and dad. And what I remember at that time, people were talking about something horrible has happened, and that we had to get on a train and live far, far away to a safer place. Our parents did what they had to do. They protected us. And tens of thousands of children were moved hundreds of miles away to the Western Ukraine, where a number of villages became our home for a few months. You see, our parents at that time knew exactly when and how to bend the rules. Unfortunately, these days, we live in the era where bending the rules efficiently is becoming very lucrative business for some companies and even the governments. Facebook, for example, social media giant, a few years ago was involved in data harvesting scandal, where Facebook made a deal with a private company and was selling a data of millions of people to them for a profit. And that company used that data apparently to help with election. Well, the Facebook was fined by the US Federal Trade Commission for $5 million. At the same time, another example, Apple and their friends from Irish government. Few years ago, Apple and the Irish government, they conjured up sophisticated tax avoidance scheme where Apple avoids paying $15.5 billion in taxes. At the same time, European courts that let them do it. They decided that bending the rules in that way was appropriate. Not appropriate in my way. Clearly, those two bend the rules a lot. Well, many of you probably thinking multinationals, other countries, companies, but we don't break the rules in our club. We are Toastmasters. Or do we? It's a really good question in my mind. What I'm talking about is that situation where I prepared my speech, the same as you, and I'm ready to go, ready to jump and deliver it. I looked at the club rota, no slots for months, no speaking slots for months. What to do? Well, we have a choice. We could just take what we can for granted and wait for months for the opportunity to speak, or we could bend the rules just a little. We could speak with our vice presidents of education or even club presidents. And then voila, a speaking slot magically appears from nowhere. Ladies and gentlemen, as one of the world's greatest artists, Pablo Picasso, once said, learn 2 rules as a pro so you can break them as an artist. We all got to know how to break the rules and when to do it. When we're stuck with our options in life and we don't know what to do, whether to break the rules or to follow them, whether to break the rules or to follow them, I want you to remember one story. The story about little crying girl and her lost teddy. Don't join the choir with the rest of the crowd. Someone's baby is crying. What I want you to do is just bend the rule a little. Bend over and pick that little girl up. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you, contestant number 1. Can we now have 1 minute of silence, please, for our judges to vote? And Madam Timer, please show the green light after the 1 minute is over. Thank you. All right. Contestant number 2, can you please come on stage? Thank you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can see the timer as well.
Thank you. Jeanette Francois, don't wait, find your mentor. Don't wait, find your mentor. Jeanette Francois.
Do you happen to be one of those people who find it hard to find a mentor? Well, finding a mentor can be very exhaustive. That's why in my presentation, I will outline 3 points which I find very interesting to finally be at peace with mentoring. First of all, I will define to you what mentoring is to me. Secondly, I will talk to you about who was my first mentor. Then I will tell you what mentoring is to me now and what I found that mentoring could mean to me. So first of all, what is mentoring to me? How do I define mentoring? Well, mentoring is when you have somebody who has more experience than myself, who can guide me, who can give me insights, who could tell me things that I don't know because that person has more experience, and who can also bring some light in certain goals that I may have and I don't know how to go about it. That's how I define mentoring. That's what mentoring is to me. That's what I find mentoring could mean. But then I would like to talk to you especially about who was my first mentor. Well, you see, my first mentor was my mother. My mother. I would love to show you a picture of her, but I don't have any picture because there was a fire and I lost her pictures. But my mother, for somebody who didn't talk very much, she had great insights in mentoring me as a child. You see, I was one of those children who didn't talk very much myself. I used to like to observe people. I like to see what people was doing. I was very obedient. And my mother, when she realized that, she found a good way to mentor me. You see, my mother, she taught me non-verbal communication. She didn't talk too much. You see, my mother, just by looking at her, just by observing her, I could pick up on a lot of things. I could pick up on the mannerisms.
I could pick up on her emotions and the way she interacted with other people around her. That kind of nonverbal communication in mentoring a child like myself was golden. Very early, I was able to learn how to love, how to care, and how to respect others. As I grew up, I took all those elements with me. And when I became an adolescent, a teenager, and an adult, well, things changed suddenly because the nonverbal communication that I had as a child wasn't that useful anymore because I needed a verbal response. I needed the verbal communication, the spoken words. I needed people around me who could tell me with words how to deal with certain things, how to deal with life's challenges. That's one of the reasons why it became hard for me to have a mentor. But it wasn't only that all. There were other reasons for that. As you know, when you're a teenager, you don't know yourself. You're going through teenage crisis. You're trying to find yourself. Who am I? I didn't quite know. And even as an adult, I had to find somebody who could teach me for life's purposes with my schoolwork and even with my family life. And it was very hard to find it. But because I didn't know myself, that was a big problem why I couldn't accept others to give me advice. You see, when I entered Toastmasters, I was assigned to a mentor the first year. And I had to do my icebreaker. And what I found again is that I couldn't be mentored by this mentor because she didn't know who I was. The same problem happened again. But then it came to me that I had to think more about what was really going on. Upon reflection and reflection, I realized that one of the reasons why it's because I didn't know what to give back. So in summary, what I would like to tell you, teaching a child with nonverbal communication, it's totally appropriate. A child can survive with that. When you become an adult, things get way more difficult because you need somebody to talk to you in concise way with the spoken words. And right now, I'm very happy. Over the years, I've developed a lot of knowledge, and now I can share, I can give back. And I would like to leave you with this quote. The quote says, ask and you shall receive. I will tweak it a bit, I will change it a bit. First, you have to know yourself, know who you are. Then you have to have something that you can give back, and then you shall receive. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you, contestant number 2. Can we have 1 minute of silence for our judges? 1 minute of silence is over. Contestant number 3, can you please come on screen and unmute yourself? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Can you see me?
You are beautiful. Yes,
Can you see the timer?
yes, I can.
Thank you. Contestant number 3, Jim Barber, A Hero's Journey. A Hero's Journey. Jim Barber.
My father was a loser. Mr. Contest Master, my fellow Toastmasters, our most welcome guest this evening. Daddy was a loser. He was born and raised on a small farm in the southern United States. He didn't have many opportunities, but his parents, my grandparents, were determined that he would get an education, book learning, as they called it. So they sent him to school, a one-room schoolhouse, where he applied himself. It wasn't easy, but he got reasonably good grades, and he learned. He got an education, and he was very proud of that until the 10th grade. Because in the 10th grade, his parents broke the news to him that as proud as they were of him for getting an education, they really needed him more at home to plow the fields, work the farm. And so he had to drop out of school. And he always felt bad about that afterwards because he felt that he was a loser. His family lost the farm in the Great Depression a few years later. Didn't affect Daddy a lot because he, about that time, got married. He was in love. She was wonderful, but there was always one little thing that bothered him. You see, Mama graduated from high school and Daddy never did. And he always felt that he just wasn't quite as good as he could have been. He was a loser. Because he was only a 10th grade graduate, there weren't many job opportunities, good jobs. Most of the jobs that he got were low-paying, menial jobs. But he did what he could. One job, he was a collector. He collected premiums for a life insurance company. He went to individual homes once a month and collected the $1.50 premium on the life insurance policy. But because he was only a 10th grade educated person, they gave him the poorest part of town. And he went there, went to every home. A lot of times it was difficult for them to get the money, to scrape the money together, but they did until he went to one home and they were in tears. They didn't have the money to pay the premium. Now, if they didn't pay the premium, they were going to lose their life insurance. It was going to be wiped out. It didn't matter what they had paid in the past. And so Daddy reached into his pocket and he paid the premium with his own money. They were so appreciative of what he had done, and they were proud people, they just didn't have money, that they insisted on giving Daddy something in appreciation. They gave him a chicken, not a baked chicken, not a fried chicken, a live chicken. I'm told that when he brought that chicken home to Mama and explained that not only did he not have the money that he was expecting to make, but he had less money than he had gone out, but he did come home with a chicken. She was faced with a choice. She could leave him or she could kill him. Fortunately, she did neither one, and they proceeded to be married for quite a few years after that. World War II came about. Daddy said, this is my chance. I'm going to serve my country. So he enlisted in the Navy. Unfortunately, there was a problem. See, Daddy was a smoker, not just any cigarettes. Camel cigarettes, unfiltered Camel cigarettes, a pack a day. Also, basic training was in Rhode Island in the northern United States. And he was a Southern boy, not used to snow and cold. And when he got there, it didn't mix. Within a matter of a few weeks, he had pneumonia. He spent the rest of his time in basic training in the hospital, and then he was given a medical discharge. The Navy emphasized there was no dishonor in this, but to Daddy, he was a loser. He continued going through life, doing the best that he could. 15 years after they were married, Mama had some happy news. She was pregnant. Yep, me. This was great. It was also a problem because with Daddy's salary and Mama's salary, they were just able to squeak by, but Mama wasn't going to be able to work anymore. And that meant Daddy couldn't support 2 people, much less 3 people. So he did the only thing that he saw that he could do. He went down to the Atlanta Public Library, and in his spare time, he read every book on electricity and electrical engineering that he could find. Now think about this, a 10th grade dropout who had trouble with the multiplication tables and moved his lips whenever he read something, taught himself electronics. And within a short time, he was hired as a field service engineer for United Press International. The rest of Daddy's life was quiet, uneventful. He never got rich. He never accomplished anything remarkable. He never changed the world. He never felt sorry for himself, but he always felt that he was a loser. Except he wasn't. Not to me, not to that family that almost lost their life insurance policy, not to the hundreds of other people that he befriended throughout the years. Loser? Not to me. He was a winner. He was a hero. He was a champion. He was my dad, Mr. Contest Master.
Thank you, contestant number 3. Can we have 1 minute of silence, please? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Timer. Contestant number 4, can you please turn your video on and unmute yourself? Thank you, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Can you see the timer?
I can see the timer.
Thank you. Contestant number 4, Mike Woodall, the greatest link. the greatest link, Mike Woodall.
World-renowned spiritual guru and globally loved Thomas Merton wrote, "Every moment, every event in our lives while we're on earth plants a seed inside our soul. Some of these seeds that are planted are joyous memories, positive memories. When we recall them and think about them, it brings us into like a sense of heaven, sense of belonging. We love sharing them. However, for many of us, maybe most of us, the negative ones, the negative memories that we have sometimes are like a link. One negative memory after another, holding us hostage to a past that we'd be better off without. Mr. Contest Chair, my fellow Toastmasters, and the thousands of others who will be viewing this in the future. In 1989, I was a construction manager for a firm in Los Altos, California, just down the street from Stanford University on the San Francisco Bay. 30 years old and the cockiest first-class jerk you would ever meet. I got my jobs done on time and within budget. And if anyone got in my way, well, they were through. I overheard one day that the office was closing down on Wednesday and not reopening again until the following Monday. Apparently, the owner has invited everyone to a 5-day seminar, except me. I approached him. Safwat, he says, he was only 5'3", so he had looked up to me. Mike, I had no idea that you would be interested in self-improvement. I'd love to have you if you want to come. I remember leaving his office thinking, I'm going to show everyone who the best is at this seminar stuff. Wednesday of the seminar was great. A great big waste of my time. All we did for 4.5 hours was go over the ground rules for the following 4 days of the seminar. I wanted to quit, but I couldn't. Not in front of all those people. That evening, I stood with 200 others to signify my promise to the trainer to give 100%. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about what went on inside that seminar, because one of the ground rules on Wednesday night was you can never share what goes on in a training. But I will tell you this. It was one of the most profound experiences of my life. Immediately after, I had to see my father. This burning need that I needed to see my father. I boarded a plane from San Francisco to Nashville, rented a car, and headed out toward the backwoods of Kentucky. A 5-hour journey, plenty of time for me to think out the purpose of my trip. You see, when I was between 2nd and 3rd grade, my father abandoned me at a police station. I hated him my entire life. And I am about to get this straight. After miles and miles of rocky, dusty roads, I finally pulled into his drive. And in the center of his yard was this huge maple tree, surrounded by homemade cypress benches. I stepped up onto the old dilapidated porch, knocked on the wood screen door, flop, 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 as it about fell off the hinges. And in just a moment, there he was. His bald head turned beet red, and his face flushed, and his hazel bloodshot eyes was like a deer in the headlights. Do you know who I am? Yes, sir. You're my son, Michael. Can we talk? Yes, sir. And we stepped off of that old dilapidated porch and into the homemade benches under the maple tree. I leaned into him and I said, Dad, I don't know what event or moment that was going on in your life that would cause you to see a police station the safest place for your son. What I'm here to do, Dad, is to offer you any forgiveness that you need in your life. And I'm also here to ask you to please forgive me for all of the anger and the rage that I've had toward you my entire life. And we wept. And in that moment, it was like a bright light came piercing through me and filling me, and a cool, gentle electricity went through my arms and through my fingertips. And like a snake shedding its skin, I left my carcass in the backwoods of Kentucky, never to be the same again. My fellow Toastmasters, and anyone else that is seeing this video, as we look back at all the negative memories in our life, one negative memory after another, go for the greatest link. When you bust this shackle, all the other links will fall into the abyss of irrelevance. Contest chair.
Thank you, contestant number 4. Can we have 1 minute on the clock? And Mr. Zoom Master, can we move our officials to their respective breakout rooms? Please let me know when it's done.
All judges are out of the room.
Thank you,
Actually,
Mr. Zoom Master.
Just hold that
Oh,
1 second, sorry.
Sure.
J1 has an issue. I'm sorry, we seem to be having difficulty with J1.
Sorry.
If J1 can hear me, can you please press the breakout room button on your screen, please? And choose to go to one of the rooms. Okay, and they're gone. Thank you. You may
Thank you,
proceed.
Mr. Zoom Master. Thank you so much. All right, my fellow contestants, please turn your screens back on and come forward. And everyone in the audience, you're welcome to also turn your screens on, unmute yourself, and give a big, big, big round of applause to our 4 contestants. Hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. All right, we'll now start with a quick round of interview. As we go over that round, I will also share my screen to show the certificates of participation for each and everyone. And yes, please reach out to the Zoom master. If you're not able to open your camera, please private message the Zoom master. Thank you. And Mr. Zoom master, can we spotlight our 4 contestants and myself, please?
Just one little note. Unfortunately, I'm unable to start video. The host needs to give me permission.
He's trying to bend the rules, Mr. Contestant. There we go. Awesome. It was such a pleasure for me to be on the side of the contest team and not having to participate or even be a judge, because it's going to be crazy in the judges room. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. As we go along, I'm going to just ask you questions, and I'm going to start with contestant number 1, Andrei Smolenko. How does it feel, Andrei, after delivering your magnificent speech?
Well, Mr. Contest Chair, it feels great. I feel really, really fortunate because I was the first speaker, so I could enjoy the incredibly powerful speeches of other 3 speakers. So I feel really, really happy because I got really uplifted, and then I just enjoyed the amazing show with powerful messages. So thank you, the other 3 speakers. It was brilliant.
You're welcome. Now, Andrei, as per the profile that you shared with us, you mentioned that your notable accomplishment has been to take a cold water shower every day for 60 days. I know you're crazy, but why, my friend?
It's a good question, Christian. I'm still wondering why I did it. One part of me said, well, I'm a brave Ukrainian and we should be used to cold. And the other parts of me, more British, softer, saying, oh, no, we don't want to do it. And then I thought, look, one day I just do the challenge. And I did. Luckily, I survived. And it looks like I'm still right. So standing here.
Thank you, Andrei, and congratulations on your speech today. And this is for you, my friend. Well done.
Yay! Thank
you.
Thank you, Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you. Contestant number 2, Jeanette Francois.
Yes.
I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yes, it's okay.
Right. Don't wait, find your mentor. Now, here's my question to you, Jeanette. What would you give me as recommendation if I'm looking for a mentor? 3 things, if you can.
The 3 things I would give you is, first of all, you have to know who you are first. And secondly, you must definitely find a mentor who can understand who you are as a person, who would ask you a question, who would ask you questions about, who is curious to know about who you are, secondly. And thirdly, when you find that mentor, I find that the relationship between the mentor and the mentee is better, is at its best when they both have something to give to one another. So it's a give and take situation. So I think when you have that, now you can proceed in mentorship.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And one thing that intrigues me, besides being a mentor yourself, I'm guessing, you also have the occupation of being a musician. So how do you juggle your musical life and Toastmasters? And when will we see a musical speech?
Yes, I've done a musical speech before when I first entered Toastmasters, and I'm a harpist. Okay, that's what I am. Okay, I'm also studying how to play the electric guitar.
Oh, wow.
But yes, I hope one day I will be able to give you a harp presentation or a guitar presentation in one of my speech. I will give you an extract of one of the music that I like to do, but hopefully it will be pretty soon, because when I decide on doing something, I do it pretty fast.
Well, my dear online presenters, if you're listening and if you want to have a musical speech from Jeanette, just type yes right now in the chat and we'll get her to do it. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for your speech. And this is for you, madam. Congratulations and well done.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll now move to contestant number 3. He's trying to call himself as Joseph Ramchan. I don't know why, but in my books, he's still Jim Barber, the man before the internet, someone calls him. Having said that, Mr. Jim Barber, A Hero's Journey, fantastic, because it, just like all the speeches, this one also touched my soul. And that's the moment that you don't want to be a contest chair. You can't show the emotions. So, Mr. Jim, what inspired you to give this speech right now?
Wow. Well, I was originally thinking, you know, I'm a Toastmaster. So what speech can I give that would win? But then I thought of the people that I was going to be competing against. And I said, let's face it, the odds of your winning are slim. So I decided just to give the speech that I wanted to give. And this has been a speech, not these words, but this sort of thing is something that I've been wanting to say for a long time. And so I just decided this was the time to do it.
Thank you. And it feels as if you had prepared for this answer. So humble and so outgoing. Thank you. Jim, I saw in your profile that you gave a closing talk at a TEDx event in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
What recommendation would you give one of us who aspires to be a TEDx presenter?
Ooh, Toastmasters. Toastmasters. Some of the other people presenting at TEDx, they had wonderful information and they were lousy presenters. They tried to get better overnight. You can't do that. It takes months or years of practice. So frankly, Toastmasters is the best thing that you can do if you want to give a TED Talk. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jim. And
thank you, sir.
This is your certificate of participation that will be sent to all of you by email.
Thank you.
This contest. All right, the last and fourth contestant, Mike Woodall, the greatest link. How does it feel now, Mike? Because I'm going to share with everyone that you had been practicing something for 6 hours and we didn't get to see it. Would you like to share a bit on that so that it can be a lesson learned as well?
Well, this is my first video speech contest. It's the first presentation that I've given in about a year and a half. And the way I saw it was it's a brick and mortar club. And so you were going to announce the person, this speaker, and I would just walk out like this. Just like I would if there was a lectern and we'd shake hands and we'd do that. But what I found was that would put a kind of a kink in the wheels. So I practiced, is it 3 steps, a twist? How do I plant myself? Go 1, 2, 3, plant. I see all of the girls doing the car commercials. They have like this 3 or 4 step deal. They go bam, bam, and they plant and speak. And so anyway, that's what that was about. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you for playing with me here, because it's not an easy thing to do. And thank you. Now, I find that you are a writer and you have been a contractor. Now, which one is more challenging and why? Being a contractor or being a writer?
Well, the writer is more challenging than anything that I've actually accomplished. It takes a lot out of me. And especially when I'm writing about such a personal nature. Like my speech this evening, I write about events in my life. And I've had many links that I've had to confront and deal with in order to have that rage and that anger leave my soul. And so the book is my last, I would say my last is sharing, regurgitating the pain, and it's called The Final Blow.
All right. Well, do share it with us at Online Presenters at your next speech. Thank you so much, you, for sharing your message. I felt it as well. And this is on behalf of the club to you. Congratulations, Mike. And once again, congratulations to all our contestants. Please enjoy the show. On this note, I'm handing over back to our magnificent Toastmaster of the meeting. Madam Knight, over to you.
Thank you, contest chair. Ladies and gentlemen, let us again give our contest chair and everybody who spoke today a round of applause. It really was a pleasure to just sit and learn the lessons from all our speakers. And we're getting ready to announce the winners, but not just yet, because this is Toastmasters. And we will talk with the speakers a little bit more, but first, guess what? Let's have a little table topics. If anyone wishes to participate, just quickly type your name in the chat and we will have table topics until the judges are ready for us. Thank you, Toastmaster Graham. And I want to ask you first one question. Please pay attention to the timer. Is our timer ready? Can you see our timer, Toastmaster Graham?
Just a minute, I need to bring my thing on up. Just a moment, please.
No problem.
Madam Toastmaster, would it be a relevant time to just have a quick 1 minute for club notices?
Okay, Mr. President, thank you so much for the reminder. Mr. President, while our timer is getting ready, Mr. President will have some announcements.
Thank you. Excellent turnout today. Thank you for everybody for attending. Really happy to have you here at Online Presenters. We run a club that it starts at 7:15 p.m. Eastern for warm-ups and introductions, and we always kick off at 7:45 p.m. And one of the things we do, we always finish on time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern. So whenever you want to, please come and visit. Happy to have you. And somebody will put our website in the chat in a moment. The other announcement I'd like to make is that next week we have Jeanette as Toastmaster of the Day. We have speeches, we have evaluations and impromptu speaking as well. So a normal meeting next week, really looking forward to it. Those of you who have not got your free path from Toastmasters International, you only have another 7 or 8 days to use it, because otherwise you will lose it. 31st of March, make sure you get your free path. Back to you. Again, enjoy the results. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, sir. And you heard our president. We try to end on time, so we're using this time until we are ready to announce the winners. Our first speaker, Toastmaster Graham. My next contest will be Toastmaster Graham. Tell us about your next contest.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. My next contest will be the first I've been able to compete in a couple of years, because I've been an area director. And one of the benefits of being an area director is also one of the downsides, and that is that you get to organize contests, but you don't get to compete in them. And I love competing. I'll gonna blow my own trumpet here. I've won at district level in a couple of contests, although I have to tell you, there are a couple of contests that I have never got beyond division level. And that's my plan for next year. I'm going to get beyond division level at both humorous and international next year. Yeah, right. At least I'm going to give it my best shot. And that's all that any of us can do. But seriously, there are a lot of people who say that contests in Toastmasters sort of go against our ethos, the ethos that we don't criticize, we don't judge, we merely evaluate and provide feedback. But competitions also give us a chance not to compete against the others in the room. I mean, I'm not going to compete against Jim. I'm not going to compete against Mike. But next year, I am going to compete against the one person that I've never been able to beat, and that's me. And that's what my next contest is going to be. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toast. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Graham. I do hope you get to have your next contest. And so we're going to ask Toastmaster, I think it's Roseanne. Hopefully, yes, Roseanne. Rosina.
Rosina.
Rosina, my apologies. Thank you so much. As I received my award, Toastmaster Rosina, how did you feel? What did you do?
As I received my award, wow, the feeling just overtook my entire being. I could not believe it. After 10 years of trying and trying and trying, the moment finally arrived. I walked up very slowly, taking in every moment because I am that excited. I look around and see all my family and my friends that supported me along the way, just cheering me on. As I get to the stage and I'm handed the award, I freeze. I freeze and I enjoy the moment of accomplishment, the moment that after trial after trial, failure after failure, I had finally received it. The award was mine, and not to brag and not to boast, but to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me another chance to get to this moment right here where I can say, I made it. Toastmaster of the day, thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rosino. When you do get the award, you're allowed to brag a little bit and boast a little bit. It's hard work. So, Toastmaster Michael, yes, I know we have a harpist in the room, but let me ask you a quick question. We say, let the music play. What's your favorite music and why? Toastmaster Alexander.
There is a wonderful piece of music composed by Philip Glass, and it is 12 minutes of silence. Now, many people listen to that and say, what in the world is 12 minutes of silence? And how can he call that music? And that's because these people are listening to the instruments which are sitting beside the chairs of the various instrumentalists. That's not what Glass had in mind. And every time Philip Glass looked at those people who were staring in wonder at the audience, he knew they didn't get it. Because what 12 minutes of silence is about is all of the sounds we normally don't listen to. It's the music of our breathing. It's the music of our rustling of papers, because that speaks of our nervousness, of our fear of hearing nothing, of not doing things. It is the chirping of the birds. 12 Minutes of Silence by Philip Glass is about the music of the world. And that is the music that so many of us miss every day, because we're only looking at the artificial and the man-made. And that can be beautiful too. But if we miss the beauty of all the other things around us and the artistry of everything around us, then we've missed a lot of the glory of the world that has been created for us. Madam Table Topics.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for our 12 minutes of silence. As we will not miss the beauty of this evening, we now give control to our contest chair, Marion Grady. Welcome her, ladies and gentlemen. Muted.
You're muted, Madam Chief Judge.
I assume that's a tribute to my musical taste.
Why, good evening, everyone. What a night, right? I have what we've all been waiting for, the results in my hot little hands. So I won't leave you waiting. Our first runner-up, first, there have been no disqualifications. And our first runner-up is Mike Woodall. And the winner of Online Presenters Video Speech Contest is Mr. Jim Barber. Let's hear it for him. And I want to thank you all for coming. And I really want to thank the judging team for their patience. And they're all a secret, so we don't get to, they don't get the kudos like everybody else, but they were awesome. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. Back to you, contest chair.
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair. Congratulations to all our speakers, especially to Toastmaster Jim Barber, who is our winner this evening. And a quick word from Toastmaster Jim. Please share with us, as you received your award, how do you feel this evening?
Frankly and honestly, I am shocked. The other contestants, I am so glad that I wasn't a judge in this contest. I thought the other contestants were magnificent. I have no idea what I did. I'm not listening to myself when I talk. So I am just in shock. That's it. I'm sorry. Best I can do, but thank you so much.
Relaxed. Let me help you get relaxed and return you over to our contest chair, who will have a final say. Thank you so much. Congratulations again from the rest of us.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and contestants, congratulations, and kudos to our winners. Thank you so much. Reminder that the video recording of the speech of our winner is going to be submitted to Toastmasters International Video Speech Contest. All the best there. Now, before I hand over to our presiding officer, I'd like to thank the following people. Please join me, please unmute yourself and clap as crazily as you can for our Chief Judge, Marion Grady. Thank you, madam. We had the backup Chief Judge, Thane Shetter. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the name right. Thank you, backup Chief Judge. Our panel of judges, they remain anonymous. Thank you to my backup contest chair, Lucas Calafel. Thank you so much for being there in the background and ready to jump in. Thank you to our timers, Toastmaster Elaine Nieberding and Toastmaster Rosina Duncanson. Thank you. Couldn't have done it without both of you ladies. And special thanks to our ballot counters, Elizan Warren Russell and Murphazul Rahman. Definitely, this event couldn't have been possible without our Toastmaster, Donna Knight. Thank you, madam. And special thanks to our Zoom master extraordinaire, Nick Lacani. Thank you, Nick. And on this note, I end my share of the evening, and back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Christian. A great job, Christian. Well done. You should be very, very proud. You and all the team. So well done. And special thanks to Marianne Grady for being Chief Judge and everybody else that Christian mentioned there. If we've forgotten anybody, our apologies. We do value everybody, but also the main people that we want to thank as well as that are the people in the audience. So thank you for attending. I know some of our contestants have brought a big fan club and various people in the room. They got the bus outside waiting for them. So well done to everybody. Now, one of the key things about our club is we're inclusive, We like to have fun. We have special events, but also we like to end on time. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. We've had some announcements. What we do, though, is once we close the recording button, we have a little after party so we can hang out and chill out and have a chat and do anything that we want to, and even open up some breakout rooms where things may be going on. So I'd like to officially close the meeting and let the after party begin. Thank you very much and good night.